Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. I'm putting together a video today. I have quite a few of the different buddy heaters, propane tanks, hoses, and whatnot. I've had quite a few people asking me what I prefer for when I go out on the ice fishing. So I'm gonna go through that today. I've got three of the different heaters here, three different propane tanks, and I'm gonna talk about some of the hoses and everything. I've got some notes here, a lot of specs I'm gonna go over, and I'll have them on the screen as well while the video's going. But let's go ahead and jump right in. My goal of the video is to be able to help anybody that's wondering what the differences are between what I would consider three of the most popular ice fishing buddy heaters this year. Yes, the Flex Buddy is also included. I have that. I've been able to take it out a couple of times and it works great. So we're gonna go through that. If you have questions, comments, you like this type of content, please comment below. Let me know what you think. I'm by no means no expert. I just have looked up some stuff. I've read the specs on a couple of these things, and I've ran into some issues previously that I've been able to figure out. So hopefully I can share some of that knowledge with all of you, and let's jump in. Today, what I'm gonna do is go through a few of the different buddy heaters here. I've got the portable buddy. This is the smaller one that I use. I've got the Flex Buddy. This is the brand new one this year. So we'll talk about that one a little bit. The Big Buddy. I've also got some propane tanks that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Which ones I prefer, how they all work, size differences, so on and so forth. I've got some hoses in a bucket below. We'll talk about that in a minute. So let's start with the buddy heater. The first one that I'm gonna talk about is the Mr. Heater Buddy Flex. This is the brand new one for this year. I'm just gonna give high-level overview of these heaters here. If you want me to go into detail on any of them, I can absolutely do that, but I'll create a new video for that. So comment below if you want any more detail on some of the things that people sometimes ask are like how they start, how long it really lasts, do some time tests. I can do all of that. If you guys want, just comment below, but not in this video. I don't want to get it, have it be too long. So the first one, the Mr. Heater, this is the Buddy Flex. So this is the new one. What's unique about this that's different than these other two that I have out here is that this is not a super wide unit like these two are, but it is long. So if you think about the depth of the unit, you're losing a little bit of space there, but you're gaining it on the sides. One of the things that's super special and unique about this heater right here, 180-degree heat. So not only do you have heat coming out of the front in the top of like these two heaters, it's coming out of the front, it's coming out of the top, and it's coming out of both sides of the heater. The handle does collapse on it, which is great. On this side of the heater, if you open it up, this is a little accessory area here. You can actually put in here like a ice fishing jig box. You could put in a small, maybe thin pair of gloves. You could put like a battery pack and like a charging cord for your phone, piece of paper, your fishing license, whatever you want to do, you can put in there. On the backhand side, this is where you can hook up a one-pane propane cylinder. It is a rotating regulator here that you can slide it into. You've got your heater here, your accessory mode. One of the big selling points of this heater is the fact that you can actually attach accessories to it. Right now, the only one that I know of is they have a cooking heater. So you can actually turn it over to that side. And then over here, you have an accessory out for the propane. So you can actually hook a hose up here into a cooker heater that actually clips into the bottom of it. I don't have that. I have no intentions on getting it. But that's there, so you can actually cook. The one main reason why I'm not getting that, and I'm using my other cooker that I have, is that you can't have the heater running at the same time that you're using the propane cooker. I'm not always a big fan of turning my heat off for the period of time that I'm cooking. Sure, I could probably optimize and figure it out, but I'd rather just, have the heater going and have a completely separate unit running off of butane or propane. So that's what works for me. Above that, you've got a battery door. I've got it screwed shut. There's a little Phillips screw in there. Inside of there's a couple, I think they're AA batteries. And what that's for is this has, if you can hear it, electric ignition. So it's no longer holding down, pushing the pilot button and clicking. So that's a nice thing with this. The way that the igniter is on this is the igniter is actually behind this little metal grate down here. That's a little windshield. So that way when it's igniting, it can ignite easier in the wind, and it helps keep snow and rain and sleet off of it if you are outside. And then this is like a brush, like cotton type of material, and I found it to do a lot better out in the open. So if you're doing like tournament fishing or anything outdoors where you've got a little bit of wind, this actually holds up to the wind better and doesn't blow out. These guys, I have a tendency where the wind can come in, it can either totally blow them out, or it's flickering so much and it can't keep a steady heat temperature that it's almost pointless to use. This guy does a lot better with it, as well as the heat coming off the top, the front, and the sides. Pretty compact. I really like it. Dimensions on this guy. This is where I'm going to my notes, so don't laugh at me too bad here. The actual rated weight is 11 pounds on this guy. The width of it, so from side to side, they're saying is 10.95 inches, so about 11 inches. I think they're being very conservative. This is closer to 10, so it's about 10 inches wide. And then your depth from front to back is about 15 inches. Your height is about 16 and a half as well. The next one that I'll go through here is the Portable Buddy. So the Portable Buddy has your standard, what I think everybody's used to. You've got your standard rotating switch here. So off, pilot, low, and high. There is no medium setting. The one thing I forgot to tell you about this is it has a variable heat. I don't know if you can see it here, but if you turn this, you can go low, high, and the switch is like, if I get it over here, you can see I can turn it in between. With this guy, again, you've got low and high settings only, pilot and off. So the lighting is the way that you normally do it, where you have got to click it. Foldable handle, super compact. This fits one pound propane cylinder. The Buddy Flex does the same in the back. It's a pretty basic unit, but it's really light. It does have holes here in case you wanted to mount it to the wall inside of your fish house or somewhere else, or hang it up in your garage or something. So in terms of dimensions for the Portable Buddy, weight-wise, 10.5 pounds. Width-wise, so it is, again, it's wider but not as deep. So it's 14 inches wide, and then the depth on this is 9 inches deep, and the height is 15 inches. And then the Big Buddy heater. So this is the biggest, baddest, hottest heat producing one that they make. So the front looks the same, is standard. It does have on the top your off pilot. It does have a low, a medium, and a high. So the front coils of this guy on the left-hand side are what light up. So you've got the left-hand side for low and medium, and then it doubles that and it lights up the right-hand side for your full high heat setting. Fixed handle, mine's melted a little bit because I've been cooking on it. You've got 1 pound propane tank cylinders that can go on both sides. It's the same on both sides. You've also got, that some people don't know about, you've actually got a quick connect nozzle in here that you can actually hook a hose up to, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So that's that side. The back, you've also got your screw holes where you can hang it up. There's also a battery door down here, which I don't use, but this is one of the older ones where you've actually got a fan on the top and a switch. I just don't use it. Batteries die too often. And yes, I know there's mods available for it. And then a propane on this side too. So this Big Buddy heater allows you to use 2 1 pound propane tanks, and you can only use one on both of these guys. The dimensions on the Big Buddy, this is 17 pounds. You've got 19 inches wide. You've got 12 inches deep from front to back. The height, 16 and a half. The next thing I want to talk about with these heaters is the heat output. So on the Portable Buddy, on the low setting, 4,000 BTU. On the high setting, 9,000 BTU. The Big Buddy, same settings. Low is 4,000, medium's 9,000, and the high is 18,000 BTU. So this doubles what this can do on high. Buddy Flex sits in the middle. The variable, so on the lowest end, this is 8,000 BTU. On the highest end, it's 11,000 BTU. Runtime, if you have each of these on max heat, the Buddy Flex will run for 2 hours. Portable Buddy will run for 3, and the big buddy will run for 3. And that's if you have 1 pound cylinders in each of these and the 2 1-pounders in this guy here. If you have them on their lowest setting, the longest runtime that you can get out of them, again with those 1 pound cylinders, is 6 hours on the portable buddy, 3.5 hours on the buddy flex, and 12 hours on the big buddy. They all have the safety tip over switch. They all have the oxygen depletion sensor. This is the only one that has the electric ignition. Both of these have the piezo igniter. So if it were me, if I'm in a big hub with a bunch of guys, I like actually the big buddy just because of the heat output. However, if I'm in a little bit smaller hub or have maybe the floor mats down or something, this gets the job done. The 180-degree heat is actually super helpful. And then if I'm in my 1-man or it's a warmer day and I'm out in my, my 2 to 3-man, I'll actually just bring this guy. And most of the time I just run it on low all day just to keep it kind of warm in there. But the high setting works as well. So that's my preference. One of the other things I haven't talked about yet is clearance. So for all of these heaters, they recommend not having anything within 30 inches above the top of it just because of how hot it gets. And then 24 inches or 2 feet out in front of it. The one thing to know about the Buddy Flex is now that you have heat coming out of the sides, you also are supposed to have 2 feet of space on either side of it. So think about, you can't really throw it in a corner unless the corner's back here and you've got 2 feet of space. You've got to make sure that you have clearance all the way around, 2 feet in both sides, 2 feet in the front. Whereas both of these guys, 2 feet in the front, the sides only need 6 inches of clearance. All 3 of them, 0 inches of clearance is needed on the backside. So another thing there. I love all 3 of them. I use all 3 of them. One of the fun things I do with this guy is it's the one that I can actually take out if I'm planning on cooking some hot dogs and I don't want to get the grill going. I've got a hot rack that I can put right on here and that works out well. That's also from when I put a pan on there or some tin foil or something, why my handle is melted on that. So that's enough on the heaters. I'm going to go over to the propane tanks and the cords and kind of talk through that. All right, so now I want to talk to you guys about the propane tanks and some of the hoses and the connections because I know that's confusing for a lot of people because there's a ton of options out there. What I have up here are the propane tanks that I use most frequently. So we've got the 20-pound propane tank. This is an 11-pound propane tank. And then this guy is a 5-pound. And then of course, that's the one everybody knows, those are the 1 pounds. All of them will work with each of these. These 3, you need to use a hose, which I'll talk about next. The 20-pounder, 40 pounds full, okay? 11 pounds, 23 pounds, so it makes about sense in weight. But that extra, 17-pound savings is really nice. This thing will for sure get you through a weekend, depending on how cold it is, maybe even longer. This 5-pounder, this is perfect for day trips or maybe even a weekend for you. The 5-pound is 13 pounds. So 40, 23, 13, and 2 pounds is how much a 1-pound propane cylinder weighs. That's the full weight for all of these. I really like going with this guy if I'm going out on a day trip. It works out perfectly. You'll not run. I mean, unless you think you're going to go through 5 of these 1-pounders in a day, which you probably know because you've used them before. This guy is really worth it. I'll put links to all this stuff below so you can just click on it. If you have a 5-gallon bucket, what's nice about the 11-pounder is it fits in there pretty nice. I actually have a sleeve that I put over it just to protect it from the elements because I usually just set this outside or keep it on my ATV. But as you can see, it fits in there really nice. It goes over the top, but in terms of keeping it stable and just throwing it in a bucket, that's nice to keep it from rolling around. Obviously, this 5-pound guy will fit in here as well, and you can put a lid on it because it clears the lid, which is really nice. And then everybody knows the 1-pounders. So that's what I wanted to go through there. So cords. So there's a few different options. I'm going to try to keep this as simple as I can, and this is all based off of what I've experienced to work with no issues, as well as what the manufacturer recommends. So I have 2 hoses here. I have this hose right here. This is a 10-foot Buddy Series propane hose. This guy will work with any of those heaters. The way that this is hooked up, this end of the hose, one end, goes in where you would screw in a 1 pound propane cylinder in any of those heaters that are behind me there. The other end is this guy right here, which comes with a little plastic washer thing to help you turn it a little easier. This goes into the inlet of one of these. So it's threaded to go inside of it. But this will work with any of these, with any of those hooked directly into one of the 1 pound slots. The Big Buddy heater, you can actually, if you really wanted to, get 2 of these and 2 of these, and you can actually hook these up to both sides of it. Overkill, I would never do it, but it is an option. So that's this hose. The other option that you have, which I don't have here, is they make a 5 and a 12-foot hose for these guys that you have to use with a fuel filter. Put all these model numbers on the screen with explanations so you guys can see it. The other one, so this is what I use when I go out with my Big Buddy later in the year, is this guy right here. So this is one hose. So this is the quick connect with a regulator already attached to it. They make this exact same hose, which you can use as well, that does not have the regulator attached to it. And that is useful. You still need a regulator to use with the Big Buddy, but if you're running from like an RV, or you're running from your ice castle, your ice house, or something else that already has propane running through it, and maybe you have an extra accessory propane out, but it's already regulated propane, you don't need to double regulate it. So that's why they make this hose without this. This is a 12-foot hose. It's got this end here that you just screw right onto the propane tank. This only works with the Big Buddy heater. And then on this end, you've actually got your quick connect. So this you just push down, pop it right up in there, and it goes right onto your Big Buddy heater. I think I got through everything that I want. If you guys like this type of content, like these reviews, my goal here is to help you guys out with my experiences and some of the equipment that I use. I have a ton of ice fishing stuff, so I'm looking forward to giving out more tips and tricks and my opinions. Comment below if you have other questions or want my opinion on anything else. I'm more than happy to help out however I can. I love this stuff, so if it can help some other people and I can make it easier for you to know what hoses work with each of these versus one of those, which I'll have in this video and linked down below as well, I'm more than happy to help. So please subscribe if you haven't already so you can see more of this content as it comes through. Hopefully you guys like ice fishing and like this type of content. Comment below if there's other topics that you want. Smash that like button, and I appreciate it. Take it easy.